Hey guys, E.G. Scary here. Last night, trapped at the haunted lake. Hey guys, E.G. Scary here. And tonight, we're just gonna do what we've been doing. Let's enjoy the fire, tell some stories, and we'll do user comments that will kind of drive tonight's conversation. If you're out there, say hello. What's up, Hudson? How you doing? I'm doing great. No complaints. So do you want to hear a story, or what do you want, since it seems like you're the only one here so far? The stream just started. And the fire is just starting to roll. All right, Hudson. This one's for you. So back when I was in high school and college, I worked for an ice cream store. And when I was in college, I had earned like a high enough position that I would open the store. So the store opened every day at 11 o'clock in the morning. So I remember this distinctly because it was a Wednesday morning. I showed up about 10:15, a good 45 minutes to get the place open. Hey, Pookie. So I'm walking up, unlocking the store, and this lady like rushes up on me and she starts yelling at me because the store wasn't open at 10. And she goes on to tell me that last week this sweet old lady was there at 10, and the store was open and everything was ready to go. And I explained to the lady that we opened at 11 and, you know, I would take care of her right now. And she would not let go that this older woman that was so nice last week, you know, why is she not here today? And I'm like, look, I opened the store last week. We opened at 11. I know that for sure. And she keeps going on and on about this lady. So I'm like, what did she look like? And so she starts describing this woman. So I'm like, hold on for a second. So I go back to my boss's office, and over his desk, he had a photo of the old manager. somebody that had worked for him for a very long time. So I took down the photo and brought it to the lady. I said, "Was this the lady that helped you last week?" And she's like, "Yes, that's the sweet old lady that helped me last week. She even took a cake order. It's supposed to be ready today for an ice cream cake." And so I'm like, "Ma'am, I don't know how to tell you this, but this woman's been dead for over 10 years. There's no way that she helped you." And, and the lady's like, "Well, the lady told me her name was Rose." I'm like, "Well, yeah, that was her name, but she's definitely dead." So when I told my boss about it, there was another employee standing there later in the day, and his name was Jack. And he said to my boss, "Roses are red, violets are blue. Rose is dead, but she still works for you." What do you think, Hudson? Hey, Pookie, what? A high score of 2? All right, does somebody want another story or does somebody have a topic? Thanks, Pookie. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Consider giving me a thumbs up. It helps my ego. All right, another story. I do find English accents annoying, 100%. I find them pretentious, and most people, that's their go-to, so they sound intelligent when they're really not. But I do have some English friends, so I can't feel bad about that. All right, another story. So this story is why I do not play with Ouija boards anymore. So I'm going to change the names of the story, and most of the stories I tell are 100% true. I do change names because I don't want anybody to be embarrassed that they were part of these stories. So when I was in high school, I had this friend, we'll call him Chris. And Chris was never available to hang out or do anything ever because Chris was always working because he wanted to save money for a car. And his dream car was a Pontiac Trans Am T-top. And that's what he wanted. He wanted it with the T-top, and he had a specific color and all this stuff. So we were all inviting Chris to parties and different things, and Chris could never go because he was always working. So now fast forward, high school's over, most people are in college or figuring out what they're going to do. Everybody was working. And now Chris is available to hang out, and he has this super sweet Trans Am. So one night in the fall, Chris was driving home from work, and he was in the Trans Am, and he got hit head on by a UPS semi, and Chris was killed instantly, ejected into a tree where the rescuers actually had to cut him out of the tree, and it was very traumatic and sad for all of us. So, as the weeks went on, we really missed Chris. So we did something that you should never ever do. We wound up finding out where the junkyard was that housed his wrecked vehicle, and we went there and visited it. And Chris had on his rearview mirror like a rubber gecko, like a rubber lizard essentially, and he had it affixed to it with a zip tie. So we cut it out of the car, and we kept it as our memento for Chris. And then we went to an occult bookstore, and we got some books on different ways to communicate with people. And one of the ways, without going to like a lot of different rituals, which we did not want to do, was the Ouija board. And so rather than going to like a toy store and buying like a Parker Brothers Ouija board, we found at the occult bookstore there was somebody there that would actually hand make you a wooden carved Ouija board and the whole 9 yards. It was very, very expensive and very, very nice. And so we set a time, and there were 8 of us that were going to do this Ouija session. And not really knowing enough, and we really didn't finish reading the books, but we took a mirror, 2 mirrors, set them up, and we had a white candle and a black candle, and we had them lit, and we started trying to make contact with Chris. And as we're trying to do this, like other spirits are coming through and saying different things. Then finally, we had somebody that said they were Chris. And the way we proved that it was actually Chris is each of us asked specific questions that only we would know the correct answer to, and only Chris would actually know the answer to. And we were 8 for 8. All of the questions that we asked individually were answered correctly. And we made the biggest, most stupid mistake ever. We asked Chris for proof that he was really there in the room with us. And when that happened, all the candles blew out, and we're like, wow, that was amazing. We turn on the lights, and there's drips of blood dripping down the mirrors. And after that, I've never touched another Ouija board. Hello, everybody. Thanks for listening and watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Do you guys want another story, or do you guys want to talk about something else tonight? Hey, Salway. How you doing, buddy? So if anyone out there has stories they want to tell, we've been doing it over comments, but I think the easier way, if you want to submit a story for me to read, just send it to egscary1031@gmail.com and just put in the heading story, and I'll read it. Well, Pookie, I see you saying it's not scary, but it's entertaining. I can tell you that you had a bunch of 20-year-olds completely pissing themselves when mirrors actually bled. Like that, there was no explanation for that. And the sudden gust of wind in the basement to blow out the candles, like, it was truly frightening, and not much scares me. And it's really amazing how I was telling the story and this fire is really taken off. So if anybody else has a story, or you want me to tell a story, or you want to talk about something tonight, let's do it. The other night somebody was asking about, is the moon landing real or not? And we can re-examine that if people want. Or we can do another story. Last night, Pookie told us a story pretty much about how Somebody tried to get her into a car. For me, it's so cloudy, there's no moon right now. It's pitch black. Hey, two cats, round and flat, how you doing? Marcus says that's a blood moon. I wish I could see the blood moon. But like I said, it's so cloudy up here right now. There's no stars and no moon. I bet the moon's super cool to see. I just have to work on keeping this camera away from the fire because it is getting hot. So far I've told 2 stories. Does anybody want another story or do you guys want something else? Anybody? Yeah, Pookie, we figured everybody said goodnight to you and you didn't answer. What story did you fall asleep listening to, Pookie? Alright, Marcus says another story. Well, it must not have been that good a story if you fell asleep and forgot. Good evening, Caroline. Welcome. Oh no, I don't mind. I am just curious what story she fell asleep on because there were a lot of stories last night. Well, I don't think, Pookie, that you fell asleep during the deer story because that was early on and you interacted after that. So, Caroline, we're here at the Haunted Lake, and we're still here at the Haunted Lake because on Thursday when I was coming back, I crashed my truck and killed a deer, and there isn't any rental cars available till tomorrow. So we're making the best of it by having campfires, telling ghost stories, and whatever topics come up in chat. So people are asking for another story, and most of my stories are original, and so it hurts my brain to think, but I am going to pull one out that hopefully, I don't know if everybody's heard this one or not, because we have a lot of people that come every night and listen, so I don't like to bother them with repeating this stuff over and over and over. But this story And I have to say, a lot of paranormal things have happened to me in my life. So, um, everywhere I go and every job I've had, there's always something paranormal. So, this particular story takes place. Yeah, tell me about it. The car got picked up today by the tow truck. I was very sad to see my truck go. So they said that it'll be about 30 to 40 days for them to repair it. And hopefully when insurance sees it, they don't total it because I love that truck. Um, anyway, so this story, I was stationed for a private company, a private ambulance service in Waukegan, Illinois. And our station during the day had like 8 ambulances, and then at night it was down to 4. And I worked a 24-hour shift. And so overnight, when we weren't on calls, we'd be at the station sleeping. Pookie's very good at math. Thank you. And so basically, I was having a hard time sleeping because somebody in the bunk room was snoring really, really loud. And there was a reserve ambulance in the bay that nobody ever used. And it was just there just in case one of the ambulances broke down, we'd have an extra one to go to. So a lot of people don't know this, but when you're in that field, the ambulance is almost like hotel rooms. You know, you take naps in them, you lay on the cot, you lay on the bench seat, whatever, no big deal. So I went out to the ambulance bay and I set the ambulance up the way I wanted it so it was comfortable for me. Some pillows, blankets, and I went to sleep. I left the back doors open so I could hear if we got a call. So I start to fall asleep, and next thing I know, the doors are slamming, open and closed, slamming, slamming, slamming. It was absolutely insane. So immediately I thought somebody was messing with me, like one of the other paramedics or whatever. Because paramedics always play pranks on each other. It's just one of the things they do. And I'm looking and I'm seeing the doors open and close and there's nobody there. It's just doing it by itself. Then next thing I know, I feel this pressure on my chest and something is shoving a nasal cannula into my nose. It's like so hard, it was unbelievable, and I could not move. And this went on what felt like forever, and finally everything stopped. I was able to get up and get out of there. And it was actually very terrifying. I went to the bunk room, everybody was still asleep, and I decided that I could figure a way to sleep listening to somebody else snore. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. What did you guys think of that story? Thanks, Caroline. All right, Pookie remembered. Yeah, snoring sucks. Pookie remembered a story that happened 6 years ago. So Pookie, go ahead. Are you going to throw it up in the comments or are you going to email it? All right, Pookie, hit it. And if anybody else has a story, go ahead and submit it. So Caroline says they hear doors slamming in their house all the time. Do you ever hear people talking or walking around your house, Caroline? Two Cats and Round and Flat says having something physically happen to you that can't explain is terrifying. Yes, it is terrifying. I did mention that story to the others at breakfast, and they claim that the last call that had happened on that ambulance was an older gentleman that was they got called to a restaurant for somebody choking, and apparently nobody at the restaurant knew how to do the Heimlich. And by the time our guys got there, it was too late. And they did everything they could, but the person died in the ambulance. So they suspected that maybe it was his angry spirit in the ambulance. So Caroline said she hears her dad say her name. Is your dad still with us, or is that has he passed? All right. So Pookie says, so I went to a carnival and I was looking at this one clown. So the clown was walking across the room. When he was minutes away to the end, the clown fell and cracked his head open, and there was blood everywhere. So we never went to the carnival again. Caroline, I'm sorry for your loss, but generally, uh, when you hear loved one's voice, they're just there checking on you and making sure that you're okay and letting you know that they're there watching over you. Two cats in a flat says you choose the best ambulance to sleep in. Pretty much, yeah. It's just like I said, the story of my life. Um, I have a knack for winding up in haunted places or haunted things. No, I was just looking for somewhere to sleep. Two cats round and flat says, do you mean choose, not choose? I don't get it. But I think what you're asking is like, how did I pick which ambulance to sleep in or whatever? And it was convenient and I just wanted to sleep. You feel, Marcus says, I feel like grandma is with him often. Well, that's good. Most grandmas are good and they're looking out for you. So a few years ago, I was on eBay and I was looking for something like cool and unique. So I saw like a really good deal, and the auction was ending soon, and it was like $5, and it was for like 5 or 6 different casket keys. It's the keys they use to lock the caskets at funerals. And so there are like all different brands. The only brand that I remember was like Batesville or something like that. And they're very decorative and very cool. So I had this whole idea of how I was going to like display them and everything. So I win the auction, I pay the money, it comes. And so I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment by myself, and the keys come, and I open it, and they're like even cooler in person than they looked in the picture. And so I had to go to work. So I go to work, I come home, and my entire house smells like flowers. And it happened to be at a time where I lived alone. Nobody else had the key to my place, and there was 2 other tenants in the building, and they were on vacation. So like nobody had been in the building all day, as far as I knew. And when I walked in the apartment, it was like a fresh bouquet of flowers. And so I immediately relisted the item as haunted casket keys, and I sold them for $15 instead of the 5, and they sold right away. I probably could have gotten more, but I just wanted the damn things out of my apartment. Oh, I got you, cats. All right. Well, it's all part of winning. All right, Pookie, let's hear your other story. Salway, do you have any stories tonight? And Salway, if you want, you can email me the stories to egscary1031 at gmail.com. Well, Marcus, let's hear it. I'll read it. All right, in the meantime, I'm going to read Pookie's story. And something humongous just splashed in the lake just now. I don't have a flashlight, so if you guys hear screaming or me get attacked, it's because something's behind me that I can't see because there's no freaking moon because it's so freaking cloudy. All right, so here is Pookie's story, and that looks like Caroline just submitted a story too. So Pookie says, I went to this wedding, and when they got married, I saw something strange. So when I took a closer look, I saw it was a person watching from the sky. I was super confused. Then the person fell to the ground, and he broke a lot of bones, but he was okay. Caroline says, when I was a child, I was in my kitchen eating at the table. I looked at my mom and said, Grandma says she used to sit here, and pointed to the chair next to me. It was her spot. My mom went completely blank in the face. She was horrified knowing that I talked to my grandma. She died years before I was born. Well, Caroline, that's awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love stories like that because for whatever reason, children are open and willing to see what adults cannot see. As we get older, we seem to close up and we're not as aware of our spiritual surroundings as when we're young. So Pookie says, oh, I'm sorry, Marcus says, my childhood home, there was something really bad in that house. Everyone was terrified there. I remember the last time I slept there, felt it was full of hands touching me. Well, that can be awfully terrifying. Unknown hands. And what's really terrifying right now is there is something moving in the water. I can hear it, I can't see it, and I don't know how close it is. So hopefully it's just a fish trying to eat some mosquitoes or something. I'm going to turn the camera to the lake, but it's so dark that you're not going to see anything, I don't think, except for the lights across the lake. And it's so windy again here tonight that I had to do the fire in the can. Not trying to burn on the woods. Okay, Pookie says, wow, have a baby brother, and when he was talking to someone in the other room, so I went to check it out, and I was not there. I was super confused, so I said to him, what are you? Oh, maybe, who are you talking to? He said, Grandpa. I was really scared, so we moved to house. What, to a new house? Guys, let me grab a little bit more wood for this, okay? Anybody else got any more stories? Two Cats Round and Flat says, I have one if we're talking about family reaching out from beyond. Sure, we're talking about whatever people want to tell other people that will freak them out or give them comfort, or both. Because some stories are really freaky, give people comfort, and some stories just give people nightmares. I'm fine with either. Well, it's okay, Pookie. Thanks for sharing nonetheless. I'm actually enjoying the faces in the fire tonight. Pookie says she remembers the story that her mom told her when she was a kid. Go ahead, Pookie, and share. Marcus says, my mother had a nightmare in our childhood house about a monster with long claws trying to claw through her bedroom door. Well, that's not exactly the story you want to tell children when they're trying to sleep. Caroline says, I don't think that I completely closed myself from spirits because I still talk to my dad. I sit outside by the tree that he planted and filled him in on my life. Well, that's pretty cool. I have a kind of story like that. Um, so I used to volunteer for a fire department, and in my truck I had a two-way radio that was only on. It was set on the channel that they call us out on, and you'd never hear anything on that radio. So my uncle had died when I was in eighth grade, and so this was a few years later. I went to the graveyard and I talked to him, and he loved Budweiser beer. So I brought him uh, a 16-ounce tall boy of Budweiser and poured it on his grave and talked to him a little bit. And then when I got back in my truck, I turned on the truck, and my radio crackled, message received. And that was like, holy shit. Like, did Uncle just do that? Like, that was crazy. All right, so Caroline says, that is why I think I hear him calling my name all the time. Well, yeah, because you communicate with him and he's still watching out for you. When you have a good relationship with past loved ones, they, if they can, they stick around and they look over you and protect you. So that's a good thing. Pookie says, so like I said, my mom was a child and she said that she was out camping and she saw a woman just standing there. She went to check who it was, and it was a scary woman with a messed up face. She screamed and ran away. Well, that's the most logical thing to do. One time I was delivering pizzas and I was not familiar with the neighborhood, and a crackhead tried to get in my car and then realized that I was a pizza delivery guy and not one of her Johns. That was scary. Pookie also says, and I told her, why did you run away? Just by looking at someone with a messed up face. And what did Mom say, Pookie? Marcus, is there a conclusion to your mother with the monster with the long claws trying to claw through her bedroom door? Pookie said that her mom was a kid and thought everything is scary, and that's why she ran away. So a long time ago, one of my dates wanted to go ghost hunting. So I took her to a place known as Robinson Woods Indian Burial Ground, and it is where Chief Chichipinkwe is buried. And the story behind him, his white name was Chief Robinson, and in the Chicago area, he protected, well, his group or his tribe protected a bunch of white settlers from being massacred by other Indians. And in recognition of that, the white settlers provided Chief with a lot of land, and this outraged other Indian tribes. And they came and they slaughtered Chief Chichipinque and his entire family. And so now you can go and visit the memorial rock where they're buried, and on the rock, it's probably like 4 foot wide and just as tall, and it tells the story that I just told you. And so with that, there's been legends and stories about going there and seeing Native Americans in flowing cloud-like forms, and hearing different electronic voice phenomenon if you put like a recorder near the rock. So we went to this place, and we walked into the woods, and we were probably a good 150 to 200 feet past the memorial rock, and we're in the woods, not very dense, but we're far enough that you could almost not see the streetlights anymore. And I'm just like, just be quiet and let's just see what we see and hear what we hear, because we had no equipment at the time. So we're in these woods, and everything got super, super quiet. And like 200 feet past us appeared a woman that you could see through, wearing a white gown, and she was just standing there. It looked like she was talking to us, but you couldn't hear anything. And the person I was with just grabbed me and dragged me right back to the car, like we were out of there. Pookie says, why did I not know what slaughter is and needed to search it? Um, School is not what it used to be. That's all I can say. Two Cats Round and Flat says, once I started having intense headaches in the back of my head every morning. I have a history of blood clots. I thought that's what it was, and I was going to die. On the morning I woke up with a clear head. We went to Michigan, and we stopped to have a few drinks by these old railroad tracks. While we were there sitting for a while, and we saw what appeared to be two small shadows and a bright light. Did you guys just hear the wolves howl? Sounds like it's off to my left. Well, while Two Cats is writing, I'm going to go grab a little bit more wood. Two Cats continues. It kind of freaked us out. He went to breakfast the next morning. Hold on, did I miss something? Okay. Here, I'm going to recap this. So, oh wait, hold on a second. I'm screwing up two different things here. Alright, so Two Cats, the beginning of the story is this. Once I started having intense headaches in the back of my head every morning, I have a history of blood clots. I thought this was it. I was going to die. On the morning I woke up with a clear head, my mom called me to say my cousin passed from a brain tumor. I felt so much guilt. You guys hear the loons? Anyway, I felt so much guilt. I wish I knew I was feeling her pain. Wow, Two Cats, that's amazing. We had our first borns exactly a month apart, and she was 6 months pregnant with number 2. Oh, that's a sad story, Two Cats. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry that happened to you. Alright, so I conflated two different stories. So Caroline says, we went to Michigan and we stopped to have a few drinks by these old railroad tracks. We were sitting there for a while and saw what appeared to be two small shadows and a bright light. It kind of freaked us out. He went to breakfast the next morning and talked about it. The waiter said it was a man looking for his children who were killed on those tracks. Oh, that's pretty cool that you saw that. And there was an answer to what you had seen. Caroline says, we found out that after the children died, he would walk the tracks with a lantern trying to find peace in what happened. Marcus says, I once had a nightmare about a witch and a horrible curse about a rhyme. If you heard the rhyme, you'd be struck by the curse. Right before I woke up, it felt like there was wind under my duvet. I woke up at 3 a.m., drenched in sweat. It felt so sickening real. Well, that's awesome. Anybody else got anything else? So far tonight's been really good. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the alarm button and you'll never miss an episode. Sometimes it's chill like this, and sometimes we're out exploring, and sometimes we're building stuff. Do I have any forest stories? I do have forest stories. So years ago, I was before I had a cabin in the woods. My grandparents had a cabin in the woods, and so I drove to their cabin, and I got there. I left after work, and I got there about 3 o'clock in the morning. And if I told the story this week. I don't know if I told it. I don't think I told it in the last 24 hours. I don't know. But anyway, so left the city after work, got to the cabin about 3 o'clock in the morning, brought everything inside, uh, did the usual stuff, like got the hot water heater on and turned on the electric and all that stuff. And I went outside to have a cigarette. And it was a brightly moonlit evening. And I started, like, so when you pull off the road, it's all forest. You go down like a gravel road, and so it's all forest. And then the road or the path to, a car can drive on it, but the path from the road to the house, like 150 feet, 200 feet of just woods that they cut a path through, removed the stumps, and put gravel down. So at the end of this path, I could see like clearly the moon through it, and I was smoking, and I could totally feel like somebody was watching me or something was watching me. And then I heard twigs cracking and leaves rustling. And I noticed at the end of this path, close to the road, there was this like large cat-like object. It was probably like realistically like the size of a tiger. Like it was big, not like lion size, but like a tiger. Like a really large dog, like Great Dane height maybe. And in the moonlight, I can see these green glowing eyes, and it kind of hissed. And that was it. I dropped my cigarette, went in the house, locked the door, and didn't look back. In the morning, I went out there, and I looked, and I did not see any tracks or anything. There was some tall grass that had been knocked flat from weight being on it, but I tried to follow it, and it didn't lead to anything. And like I said, I could not find any tracks. So to this day, I've never seen anything like that again up here. And my cabin is about 3 miles from where that cabin was. So I'm in the vicinity. While I was talking, Carolyn says, "This is cool. I'm glad I found you all. Awesome. We're glad you're here as well." So if anybody else has any stories, we're all ears. Or if you want, you can email the stories to egscary1031@gmail.com, and I'll read them instead of having to put them up in the comments. And you can be anonymous, or you can give me a handle, and I'll give you credit via your handle. And if you happen to have a YouTube channel, you can, when you tell a story, you can throw up what your YouTube channel is so people could find you. Marcus, you're in Norway, Michigan, or Norway, Norway? All right, Wisconsin here. Well, right now we sit in the UP of Michigan, so I was in Wisconsin earlier today. I went down and had dinner at the White Stag and Sugar Camp by way of Eagle River and Phelps. For the last couple nights, Pookie's been telling us of her struggles with allergies, and she's still having her allergy attacks. Awesome. Norway, the country. Fantastic. Welcome. Yeah, my ancestors are from Sweden, so wow. So we got Wisconsin, California, Norway, Texas. Um, Somebody earlier was from Long Island. Awesome. We got the whole world right here on YouTube. Caroline, I feel like everybody has a has a cabin on Eagle or in Eagle River or around there. But that's awesome. Like everybody I know, or I run into people like, oh yeah, I go to the North Woods, and they're always like, oh, we go to Eagle River. And during COVID, I spent almost the entire time in Wisconsin that was wide open, just like normal life. It was amazing. Pookie says, how I found you. I was randomly scrolling on streams and I found you. I said I am new here and what do you do? And so I subbed you and now I'm here. That's right. Yeah, it is a super nice to be in such a quiet place. Tomorrow when I go back to the Chicago area, I'm not looking forward to it. And every night about this time, I hear very high above me a jetliner. I don't know if it's commercial or military, but I always hear them around this time. So it's got probably some kind of commercial path that they're on, but they're really, really high up there, so you can just barely hear it. Well, Marcus, I'm glad you found us. If you like Halloween and ghosts and paranormal, you're in the right spot. Well, I'd rather have wolves howling than like hearing trains, planes, and automobiles constantly. For me, this is very quiet. Even though I think Pookie in her one of my streams complained about the crickets in the background. I just wish that you could hear the wolves howling. Like, I don't think that this camera picks it up because nobody's commented that they can hear it. And even like the loons. So the loons nest along the shoreline, and the wolves are constantly trying to get to the loons. And when the wolves get close, the loons get really, really loud. And I wish that you guys could hear the loons when they start like squawking at the wolves. Oh, that's interesting, Marcus. There's no wolves in Norway, only with the Russian border. Huh. So Pookie says she misses Bloody Amber and Bloody Berry. Or the Swedish border, Marcus says. So what Pookie's talking about, she misses Bloody Amber and Bloody Berry. Um, a couple weeks ago stream, we were making creepy dolls for my yard haunt. I do this huge yard haunt, and if you look at my past videos, you can see some of the examples of what I've done in the past. It's pretty elaborate for a house. And so one of the scenes this year, I'm expanding my infested farmhouse, and the farmhouse has been infested with creepy dolls. And so I am making over 100 more dolls. So I've been finding these things at thrift stores, and garage sales. And so I think so far collectively, like as a group, um, my viewers have helped me create like 20 or 30 dolls. And so there's hundreds more that we have to do. But when we're doing the dolls, um, like it's viewer driven. So people like, how are we going to do this one? And people throw out suggestions, and then we like kind of vote on it. Like which doll is going to lose an eye, and which doll is going to be bloody, and which one's oozing black goo, and whatever. And Pookie's favorite one is Miss Bloody Amber. But I thought it was Bloody Miss Amber. So, Marcus, there is a lot of uh, Norse lore. Do you have any stories for us? Marcus, not trying to put you on the spot. If you have any that are short and sweet that would freak people out, that'd be cool. Sounds good, buddy. Thanks. All right, so Pookie says, oh, she's got the list of the dolls that the viewers named. The Soul Reaper, or sorry, Soul Weeper, Bloody Miss Amber, Bloody Berry is her dog, Karen, Goldilocks, who got attacked by the bears, Mia, and then there's little E.G. I know it's making and creating is very different than scary stories at a ghost or at a haunted lake at a campfire. But it's my channel and we do whatever I like, yet other people like as well. And people really like making the dolls. Karen's pet name, I don't remember either. So that's Karen. I forgot what that one's name is. Is that the Soul Weeper? I forgot. I don't think it is. But these are all dolls that we all made. That one's little E.G. I think that's all the pictures I brought with me. If you look at the live video streams, you could see the other the other the other ones that we made. This was a haul. $25 I got for $20 or something like that at a garage sale. I bought them all. If you can see the floor, it was a filthy barn. Yeah, I didn't bring the dolls on this road trip. So if anybody has any more stories, that's awesome. The wolves are going again. So I just threw a poll up there. It is Sunday and some people start school tomorrow or have work, so I get it. So if you want to end the stream, vote yes. If you don't want to end it, vote no. It's always sleepy tonight. And Salway won Best Story of the Week with his story regarding the monkeys with the permanent smiles. So Salway, please email me your address. Email it to egscary1031@gmail.com and I'm going to mail you something cool. Congratulations, Salway. And thank you for your excellent participation. I get it, Pookie. If I don't hit anything on the way home tomorrow, you'll get to see her tomorrow night, I promise. Marcus, my name is Eric. But you can call me EG. Yes, that is how you spell it. You are correct. All right, so we got 7 votes. Yes, end the stream. No, keep it going. And no wins. We keep it going. But we're going to keep it going for like 12 more minutes because I am getting tired and I have a big day tomorrow with getting the rental. So do you guys want to hear a story? Or do you guys want to tell me a story? Or do you guys want to talk about something? But of the 16 people, only 5 or 6 are contributing. So if nobody else wants to tell a story, then it's all on me. All right, so I'm going to tell a story, but first, Marcus says we have a legend about a being with the sea or lake called Dragon. If you were lucky, you would be dragged underwater and drowned. Well, that's pretty cool. That really makes me have comfort sitting here at the lake and describing earlier how I heard something large in the water splashing around. All right. Pookie says, tell a story. And Marcus says, tell a story. Caroline, my voice is calming. Thank you. I'll tell you a story. Pookie wants to know, Marcus, is that's bad? Is that a real or fake legend? Well, most legends come from somewhere, so I would say it's probably very real. All right, guys, give me 1 second. Let me grab a couple more logs. Otherwise, this fire is going to burn itself out while I'm telling a story. Alright, so while I was getting wood, Pookie said about is that a real fake legend? Marcus says, who knows, it's an urban legend. Why does that Sear Lake even exist? Who would want to drown? Marcus said the obvious, that's a deep question. Marcus wants to know where Pookie's from. And yeah, I agree, drowning sucks. So hold on, let me take a sip of my favorite beverage. It is Quick Trip watermelon water. Quick Trip with a K, only found in Wisconsin. That was delicious. All right, so this lake it's actually the same lake that my family had a cabin on when I was a kid. And I've been coming up here my entire life. I was between 8 and 10 years old. And at night, my dad would be like, do you want to come look at the stars? And I was always too afraid. So this one night, I'm like, can we go look at the stars? I was like, ready. So we go and we walk out on the dock. And he's got this flashlight and he's pointing the flashlight into the sky. And he's like, this is the Big Dipper. And he's showing me like the different constellations. And this one's that, and that's this, and whatever. And so out of nowhere, across the lake, in the wood, like the lake is surrounded by woods. We're in the middle of a national forest. And across the lake, there was this craft. It was completely silent and you could not tell what shape it was. But it went down into the woods like it was carefully landing, not making any noise. And then it went up. And when it went back up, it hovered probably like 50 to 100 feet above the tree line, and this bright yellow light went straight down into the woods. And then the thing just shot up and disappeared. And my father claimed he didn't see it, and to this day I still remember. And I've gone to that area to try and see if I could figure out if there was, like, after all these years, if there was any kind of charring or any damage to the trees or anything like that. And I haven't been able to find anything. That like button says hello everyone. Well, hello, that like button. While you're at it, if you hit the like button, I super appreciate it. And while you're at it, subscribe to the channel. Never miss one of my crazy episodes, whether we go on adventures or make something or sit and relax at a campfire on a haunted lake. And now the moon is actually starting to make an appearance. You can almost see it behind that tree. That light up there is the moon. And it is going to be really pretty when it clears that. So I sprayed this yard fogger before I started the stream, and now the mosquitoes are starting to get wise to it. So I'm starting to get mosquitoes on me. Well, I'm sorry the moon gave you bad vibes. The moon right now looks pretty cool. It's kind of orange, but it's more of a light or amber color. What time is it right now in Norway? Wow, 6:55 a.m. Right now it is 11:55 p.m. Well, in Texas and up here in Michigan, because the upper peninsula of Michigan, part of it is Eastern time zone and part of it is Central, and I'm in the part that is Central time zone. The other part it would be 12:55 a.m. Literally a night and day difference. Well, that's awesome. So I guess happy Monday to you, my friend Marcus. You are an early riser. Do you have to work today? Oh, that's awesome. Working from home is the best. Well, my brain is tapped out of stories. I'm going to check the email right now and see if anybody emailed any stories in. And if they didn't, we're going to call it for tonight. And if they did, I will tell the story. Nope. No stories in the email. All right. Well, Caroline is going to bed as well. Nice to meet you, Caroline. Hopefully you subscribe and we'll see you again soon. The other stuff we do is a little bit more exciting. Tonight's just kind of chill. We've done almost 5 nights in a row or 6 nights in a row of campfires. All right, so good night, Caroline. I'm a styler now because my mom ripped some pair of pants and oh, I don't know what you're trying to say. You're a tailor now. Marcus says the best about it is that you don't have people who paint your whole world black. What, by staying in an office or from working from home? All right, so here's the moon now up there between the trees. It's just a tiny little thing so far. Oh, I got you, yeah. Well, it's good to work from home because then you can be home anywhere working. And that's awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for your support. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the alarm button. Give us a thumbs up. And I'll catch you on the next stream. So, well, thank you, Caroline. I appreciate that. Good night. Farewell. I hope everybody has the worst nightmares possible. Yes, Pookie likes to correct everyone. That is correct. But there's no way to correct this. Good night. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. We love you a long time. E.G. Scary out.